Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. In today's video, this will be the last of our skin prep series. We are talking about combination skin in today's video. I reached out last week and I asked if you were interested in me actually doing a video on combination skin. It is a review of a lot of the other things that we've talked about in the previous videos, and a lot of you responded saying, yes, please do the video. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. This is gonna be a little bit shorter because I'm gonna obviously reiterate some of the things that I talked about in the other videos in this series. So if you haven't watched those, you probably want to go and do that now, and of course I will link to them for you in the description box. Combination skin is a very common skin type. It's probably one of the most common skin types that you're going to run into. I'm a combination skin type, so usually people like me have large pores down the center of our face. We have a very oily T-zone and dry or dehydrated cheeks, and usually the most difficult thing when you are dealing with clients who have combination skin is that these clients usually do not know how to actually take care of their skin properly. A lot of combination skin types will focus on the oily parts of their face, and they'll buy skincare that is made for oily skin. So this creates a whole series of problems. Sometimes when your skin is over dried, it responds by actually producing more oil. So you can have clients that have combination skin that will start to get really oily right in the middle of your makeup application. And also this affects the cheeks as well. The cheeks can be very dry, dehydrated. You might even have dry, flaky spots around the mouth and nose. Then you have other clients who are going to focus on the dryness and the tightness of their skin, and they'll use very rich and heavy creams on their face. And as a result of that, you're going to see a lot of breakouts. People that feel like they have dry, dehydrated skin won't necessarily exfoliate very often, so you're going to get really rough skin on the cheeks and very oily skin down the T-zone. So these are just a few of the issues that you're going to run into when you are working on clients with combination skin. What has been a common theme in all of these videos are two things. The first is that with skin prep, we need to make sure we're creating a really smooth base for our makeup application. And secondly, especially with combination skin, we want to be prepping the skin in zones. I had a really great question from a viewer, and they asked if there is an order of operations when it comes to prepping the skin in zones, and it really doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you start with the T-zone first and the cheek area second, it's totally up to you. Going back to creating that really smooth base, you want to look at your client's skin. If they're combination skin and they are using products to dry out the T-zone, you have to watch out for dry skin in the brows. You have to look out for drier skin around the nose and around the mouth. You want to make sure you have time to gently exfoliate any skin that's sitting on the surface so you get a nice smooth base that way. Going back to how we exfoliate, you have to be very careful. You have to make sure that the skin can actually handle a little bit of exfoliation, and you also have to have time for exfoliation. And sometimes when you don't have time, a little Q-tip, little moisturizer, and using that as an exfoliator in those little areas is going to help get you that smooth base to start your makeup application. Once you've determined if you can exfoliate or not, if you have time for this, if the skin can handle that, if you have the products in your kit to do this, once that part is done, you want to take an assessment and you want to look at areas of the skin that need hydration. I mentioned in my dry skin video, I like to use the back of my hand. I would use the same technique if I was working on someone with combination skin. Just feel out how dry their cheeks actually are. Sometimes people with combination skin can be drier and dehydrated around the brows, as I said, and up near the forehead, and the skin on their neck can also be dehydrated as well. So you want to use the appropriate products to really hydrate areas of the face that are needing it. If you have somebody that is combination but leaning more towards the oilier side, or maybe a little bit acne prone, then maybe using something on the cheeks that is lighter weight with a little bit of oil control will help. Or maybe it's something that is just a lightweight moisturizer on those areas. That will also help create that nice smooth base for your makeup application. Tackling the oily T-zone is really going to be the most challenging part of your job with this skin type. You have to decide for yourself if the skin can handle a light hydration maybe first, and then an oil control product second. We talked about this in the skin prep for oily skin video. There's some oily skin where they might just need a little bit of a hydrating spray and then an oil control product like a mattifying gel over top, and that's enough to help control the oil throughout the day. Usually your clients will tell you how oily they get. We have to pay attention to this type type of information when our client shares this with us. So if they do say they're quite oily and their pores are very large in that T-zone, you might want to skip the moisturizer altogether and just go to something mattifying before you start applying your makeup. If you notice the skin is just the tiniest bit oily around the nose, maybe on the tip of the chin and just in the middle of the forehead, really light hydrating product with a little bit of oil control will do the trick. If you get through your makeup application and you notice a little bit of oil starting to rest on the surface of the skin in the T-zone, this might be a signifier that whatever hydrating product you use with a little bit of oil control in it might not be enough. Then you can layer that with an oil control product. There are a ton of combinations of ways to use product to control that oilier skin, but you're gonna have to pay attention to what your client's telling you on this one. You're gonna have to experiment with the types of products that you have in your kit. For me personally, just so you know how I like to handle these things, and I will definitely demonstrate this in the application videos in the future, with a really, really oily T-zone, so very large pores, I like to first remove the superficial oil with something like the Bioderma. I'll mist lightly if I feel like the skin looks a little bit tight, and then I'll just put something like the MAC mattifying gel just on the T-zone, and I'll skip the moisturizer completely. But it is really up to you. There are a number of combinations of products that work. You just want to avoid putting too much product in that area that is oily. This is going to create an issue for you throughout the day, throughout your shoot. It's also important to pay attention to the eye contour area and the neck. Eye contour area with the combination skin, again, check for that dry skin in the eyebrow. If they have drier skin around their eyes, you want to use something that's heavier, but you want to be careful not to use too much around the eye contour area. You don't want that product running down onto the T-zone where you're already going to be trying to manage that shine that happens throughout the day. You can use something that's a little bit heavier around the eyes, but just make sure you're careful with the placement. And also remember that when you use eye creams, they do migrate a little bit, so they do spread out on the skin once they're applied. If you are using something heavier for that client that has those really dry eyelids or dry eye contour area, don't slap on the eye cream. Just be very careful about where you're applying it. You don't want it to run into that oily part of the skin, creating even more of a problem for you. And of course the neck, just make sure you pay attention. Sometimes with the neck, especially in a combination skin, this is really weird, but it happens to me too. My neck can sometimes actually get oily and my cheeks can get really dry. I know it's so bizarre, but it is something that happens. You do want to make sure that if there is any superficial oil on the skin, to remove it before you start your makeup application. The opposite end of that, if your client's neck is very dry and dehydrated, you want to hydrate it with a light hydrating product so that everything looks beautiful, especially if they're going to be taking photos. I'm trying to think of other situations that may arise, so I think because this video is going to be quite a bit shorter than the other videos, if you do have any specific questions regarding working with a combination skin type, definitely put them in the comments. In case other people read through the comments, that information will be there for them. It really is all about exfoliating where you can, if you can first, using the appropriate moisturizer and oil control product where you need it. With your setting sprays, I'm sure you can figure out you want to do something that's oil absorbing down the center of the face and just a regular setting spray on the cheeks. This is going to help minimize the amount that you're going to have to touch up throughout your shoot or throughout your event. So that's an important thing to do. And because combination skin can appear in so many different ways, it really is about being familiar with your products and the other skin types and learning how products work on the skin. So you may have combination skin with breakout. From our acne prone skin prep video, you know how to deal with areas of breakout, you know how to gently exfoliate, you know which moisturizers to use on an acne prone skin to help the makeup slide right over those breakouts or that uneven skin surface. So it's really about taking all of the information that you've seen in other videos and applying it to your client's face, and remembering that you can prep skin and you can treat skin in zones. Using one product all over the face sometimes is not going to give you the best result, and especially when you are working on clients where they need to have their makeup on for an extended period of time, a wedding, a photo shoot, whatever it is. It's important to make an effort to do the correct and appropriate skin prep to minimize the amount that you have to touch up, to make sure that the makeup can stay on as long as possible, and to also ensure that your makeup application is smooth and really easy and you're not fighting with your client's skin type. Something really important that I actually haven't mentioned in any of the other videos, and now in hindsight I'm definitely thinking I should have talked about this sooner, but when you are doing male grooming or you're working with anybody that has a bald head, you have to make sure that you prep the skin on the head as well. You need to mattify any shine Bald head is a perfect surface to reflect light. When you have a person that is going on camera that does not have any hair, this also happens to those of us with short hair. This area up here can reflect a lot of light, especially if you don't have any hair, it's going to reflect even more light. This is going to be an issue if you are on set, so you want to make sure that you prep the head accordingly. And you also have to remember that skin prep is all of this. It's not just the face. With bald heads or anybody with a receding hairline or shorter hair, I just like to remove any superficial oil that's on the skin. I'll take a mattifying gel, just apply that all over, and then I will apply my makeup, and that does the trick for me. You need to make sure that there is no light reflecting off the head. So that's an important thing to remember. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to make sure that the neck looks well hydrated and matches with the face. You have to think about hands and nails and fingers and arms and any part of the body that is going to be on camera. You need to make sure that it's prepped correctly. When you are shooting in HD, if you have somebody that has dry skin in their ears, then you're going to see it on camera. So when you are focused on your skin prep, don't be overwhelmed. You already know about the different skin types. After you've watched this video, you know that you just take your knowledge of all of the other skin types and apply it when you have a combination skin. You know how to deal with oily skin, you know how to deal with dry skin, so you can take all of that information and apply it to your skin prep, making sure that you have that smooth start, making sure that if you can't exfoliate, you let your products help you out and do some of the work for you so your makeup can go on really smoothly. And you pay attention to the details like moisturizing hands and arms and elbows and making sure a neck is moisturized, or if it's too oily, taking down some of that shine. This is all what goes into a good skin prep. And I hope this series of videos, although I know is not as exciting as watching somebody do makeup on camera, it is a really important, essential part of makeup application. And usually where a lot of us go wrong in the beginning is not prepping skin properly and not having the knowledge of different skin types. So thank you for hanging in with me on this series of videos, and I think we will be moving on to some on-camera makeup applications next week, I hope. I will see you next Wednesday for that, and as I said, if you have any more questions, you can put them in the comments, and I will see you guys soon. Bye everyone.